Girlfriend received flowers from her ex on her birthday, didn't tell me who they were from. Now she's accusing me of not trusting her. I, 22 male, was on the phone with my girlfriend, 24F, the evening before her birthday. At around 12:30 a.m. on the morning of her birthday, she received flowers, not from me. I was specifically told by her to not get her flowers on her birthday, after which she brought them in, asked if I was still on the phone, then said she was going to bed. When I asked who they were from, she said she hadn't read the card yet. Later that day, when we were talking, I brought up how this made me uncomfortable. She went into how I do not trust her and how that is not okay. When the question of if she kept the flowers came up, she mentioned she did and has them in a vase, and will absolutely not be getting rid of them. What should I do about this? Edit for clarity, I did not ask her to throw them out. Her reply was in response to my asking if she kept them. The ex did deliver them. Ex and her have had some contact, but I am only told about work-related things. Edit 2. For clarity, to my understanding, the ex dropped them off, but he was not present when she opened the door and saw them. Her justification for not knowing who they were from was that the note was signed with the initials of a name he used to be called by her sister's friends, for example HF. After bringing it up, she ended the conversation with something to the extent of, "I want tomorrow to be about me, so if you can't do that, let's wait to talk until the weekend." Ultimately, I decided to put it on hold and let her birthday pass and then deal with it. I sent her a very lengthy and sweet birthday message /5 to 6 lines on IMS, to which I received a simple "thank you." After she replied, I gave her a call offering to grab her something from her favorite breakfast spot, and I was told she didn't want it and that she was going to go back to sleep. After this, I felt like she did not want to interact with me that day, so I did not push any further. Later she texted me, quite upset that I had not made any effort for her that day. Later that night we had a FaceTime, and I wanted to listen to why she felt the way she did, apologize for the way things turned out, and attempt to explain why I did what I did. Today I received a lengthy chain of texts saying how she was talking to her sister and she thinks I am trying to manipulate her. And basically explain how she felt like I tried to blame her for the way things turned out. I don't want this to be the case. I don't want it to feel like I'm blaming her for anything when I try to talk about why I felt the way I did. I've apologized and acknowledged that I misinterpreted her desires. Even aside from the flower thing, what are some ways to talk to people about your feelings without making it seem like you're blaming them? I also tried to take her out in the evening, which she did not want to do, and rather decided to have a discussion about things, which is why the flowers got brought back up. Edit 3, we are going to have a talk tomorrow. We'll update after. Thank you, everyone, for the replies, they have been very helpful. Update 1. We have had our talk, and I ended things. I approached the breakup from the perspective of not being compatible with our methods of communication. I wanted to keep it as civil as possible, as we are part of some small circles in terms of career and friends, so I'd like to maintain a solid perception. At some points, she tried to take it in the direction of an argument. However, I just made it very clear I was not here to argue or work anything out, and that I felt like we would not be able to handle disagreements well in the future, so it was best to call things off. I appreciate all the comments and replies. I felt the way many of you had iterated, manipulated, gaslit, emotionally invalidated, etc., but I tried my best to not bias the updates with those emotions, to try to get as neutral of opinions as possible. Han Esley, right now I just feel relieved, which I think is very telling. Update 2. I did not include this in the original post because I was so emotionally drained at that point and did not feel like typing it out again. Had told other close friends over text, but I think the thing that really sealed it beyond belief was how she responded to my last attempt to try and make things better. On the day she spoke to her sister, I responded to the manipulation text with something to the extent of, "I see you and I hear what you are saying. I had no intention of making you feel that way and I'm sorry that I did." To which she responded that she's sorry, that I did, too, and that she was going to go nap. Later that day I texted to ask if she was free, and after 3 hours I basically got a no, but I could drop some stuff off. At this point I had been running out while she was not responding and gathering all of her favorite foods and treats along with writing a card. After I gave it to her I went back and was texted things along these lines. "If you want the pastries, please take them back. I'm so confused. Was this supposed to make anything better? You hardly looked at me." At this point, I was pretty much done and replied with something like, "I know I'm not perfect, but I'm not going to be told I'm not trying when I am, and when I try to do something I can't have it where only the things I did wrong are acknowledged." At this point, she finally made some attempt to be understanding, saying thank you for the gifts and that she didn't say I wasn't trying. To me it seemed like I only got that response because it seemed like I was finally done. In any case, it is over now, and time to move on. I don't think she physically cheated as many in the comments do. However, at this point, I do not care. All I hope is that I better know what to look for next time and find someone that works better for me personally. Thank you to everyone for the advice and for listening to me and my problem. MS, I hope everyone here has a wonderful day. Commenter, who delivers flowers at 12:30 a.m.? Ex-boyfriends, that's who. Commenter, I'm assuming the ex-hand delivered them, as deliveries don't occur at 12:30 a.m. Then she just went to bed? Seems shady. I wonder if he spent the night. Also, why would she specifically tell you not to buy flowers? I don't know, but I do know I don't like it. Proceed with caution. Commenter, she went straight to attack mode when you said it makes you uncomfortable. Another commenter replied, yeah, I get Darvo vibes from this, and the edits only make it more obvious. She's deflecting by accusing him of not trusting her, then by creating some separate drama by sending mixed messages about her birthday. Then she's attacked him about not making effort for her birthday, and reversed victim and offender by accusing him of being a manipulator. If this is who she is, then Op should back away slowly and leave her to the ex-boyfriend. If Op stays, then he's in for a roller coaster of drama with a rough landing at the end. Update 3. Before I get started, yes, I already know I am an idiot and should have never gotten back with this girl. TLDR, about 4 months ago I made a post about a situation I was in with my now ex involving her getting flowers from an ex hand delivered at midnight on her birthday. There were a number of gaslighty/manipulative things that went on, and ultimately I called the relationship off because of that. About a week later we talked and she took accountability for everything and apologized. I decided to give her a second chance. I didn't update my post at the time because I was embarrassed at my lack of self-respect. I wish I never would have done this. She hit me. We are now broken up again, and despite her best efforts, there will be no more chances. Even I cannot come back after that. Honestly, I am kinda a mess emotionally right now. She hit me in my bed and I haven't been able to get a good night's sleep since then. Hink about the hit every time I go to sleep. We are both PhD students and work in the same building. I don't want to come in for meetings or to work because I fear I might see her. Somehow this situation is never ending. She told her friends, who I am also friends with, that she hit me by accident. However, after she hit me she said she could never forgive me if I did that to her, and sent me a text saying she'd understand whatever I decide to do and should have never ever done that, and that she ruined our relationship. Yet when it came time to break up that evening she believed in the 3-strike rule and was upset that she felt she messes up once and it's over. This is all really messing with my head. Now all I can think is what if it was an accident, but also her response doesn't line up with that. I feel like I have to prove to my friends that I was abused and that I'm not overreacting. In any case, it just sucks. For those of you out there, if you leave a toxic situation, stay gone. There is nothing to be gained by going back. Also, while I don't think it matters, the reason she hit me goes as follows. We are taking the same course, and I have been consistently scoring lower on assignments with the same solutions. The same thing had been happening to another friend in the class. However, my ex always got full points. We emailed the grader and eventually got our grades corrected, so we were right to be upset and did not have the correct solutions. My ex types her solutions up, and I believe that plays a major role in why she always gets more credit. Solutions are just easier to read. In any case, I had been exploring using large language models to convert my handwritten text to typed, and it had some success. I made an attempted joke in bed saying something along the lines of, now the grader is just gonna look at my typed solutions and give me credit. Then she hit me and began yelling how she works hard too and I'm diminishing her work. I see how the joke could be taken that way, even though it wasn't my intent. It wasn't until after I apologized and calmed her down that she did for hitting me. Commenter, even if her hitting you were just an accident, it seems like that incident was just the straw that broke the camel's back for you, and that you had other growing concerns and feelings about the relationship. I feel like I have to prove to my friends that I was abused and that I'm not overreacting. You don't. A healthy relationship is one where either party should be free to leave for any reason. Even I just don't have romantic feelings anymore is a valid reason to end things. The most that you have to do is simply continue being a good friend to them. If they ask you questions, it's your call whether you want to get into details, but I'd recommend sticking to facts. Commenter, stay on that PhD grind. Don't let a shitty relationship result in you imploding a good thing that doesn't have to suffer. You don't have to prove shit to anyone else. If they dismiss your truth, they aren't a healthy person for you. Better to learn a lesson late than never. It's rarely just one thing that results in a breakup. This was just the final thing. Commenter, if you're getting hit and you end up apologizing for it, you're being abused. Commenter, ah yes, the 3-strike rule when it comes to abuse. The audacity of this girl, holy shit. Commenter, 1, good for you for walking away from that dumpster fire. 2, anyone who brings up anything about y'all's relationship demise, just look at them and say it's over and I'm not participating in any of the drama anyone is trying to suck me into. They'll move on from it. 3, don't let her presence there affect your PhD goals or comfort levels, etc. You're not the toxic one walking into the place, she is. Hold your head high and just ignore her existence. Now on to second story, Ida for refusing to tattoo at my cousin's wedding? I am a tattoo artist. I've done an apprenticeship the first year of tattooing. I work as a tattoo artist for 4 years now, and I opened a studio recently. Me and my family are invited to a wedding that is taking place in another state. My cousin is marrying and we got the invitation a few months ago. Time has moved forward and now the wedding is in a week already. Out of the blue my cousin, let's call him Matt, texted me with something along the lines of, you're gonna tattoo me on my wedding day. I was a bit confused as I never even thought of bringing my equipment, since I also didn't plan a guest spot or anything. Guest spot is a tattoo artist working at another studio for a few days or weeks, mostly in a different area to grow the clientele. I jokingly asked if he has a machine, as I still hoped that he wasn't serious. He then just asked if I don't have one and that one machine wouldn't take up that much space to take with. I replied that I didn't plan on bringing my equipment, that in fact contains more than just a machine, color, hygiene stuff, stencil that's the purple stuff you put on the skin to then trace the tattoo with actual needles, etc., and that I'm not prepared to tattoo at a wedding of which I don't know anything about, layout of the location, is it inside/outside and so on. He then said that he had planned on this and that it would mean a lot to him to both get a tattoo on his wedding day and that I'd be the one to tattoo him. Remember that this is the first time I'm hearing this. I again tried to explain that I don't feel comfortable with that and that it's quite short notice as I work until me and my brother fly over to attend the wedding and a tattoo needs to be designed first, right? He saw my message but didn't reply anymore. This morning my mother called and she was furious. She asked why I couldn't pull my shit together and just tattoo Matt. I told her what I've previously told Matt as well, but she didn't want to hear it. She just said it would mean a lot to her and Matt's family if I'd do that and that it could be my wedding gift. Then she hung up. I talked to my brother about it and he just shrugged it off and said it would be nice of you, though I'm unsure what to do now. As I said, I'm not really comfortable with the whole situation, especially because I've never been guest spotting, so I never had to travel let alone get on a plane with my equipment. But is that just selfish? I mean, it would mean a lot to apparently everyone and I'm just saying no? Edit. 1. I do have an actual wedding gift already as they sent out a wish list with their invitations. There was a point that said artwork, because they recently moved into a bigger house and apparently they want random artwork to decorate. I oil painted them a painting I spent several days on, so I also don't plan to give him a voucher as a gift. 2. Maddie doesn't have any tattoos as far as I know. 3. I don't know what my mom's problem is with all of this. I think she just wants to keep the peace. Update 1. So the last hours have been a lot. First of I called my mom and wow, she asked me again, this time very friendly, if I want to tattoo Maddie at his wedding, and again I said no, with all the reasons I've previously given her plus some of the very good points you guys had. Before she could say anything else, I added that I felt like she wouldn't take me and tattooing seriously. She didn't say anything for a bit until she tried to explain that she really thought it wasn't a big deal. I told her again that it is and that my mom of all the people should know how my job works. She agreed and apologized profusely. I then asked her if she'd like to attend and watch me work on a client's appointment, and to my surprise she said yes. Mom is tagging along tomorrow. Now to Maddie, or rather his bride. I finally got hold of the bride, let's say her name is Becky, and asked her about the request her fiancé confronted me with. She seemed surprised as she apparently had heard from my aunt that I made something for their new house. She assumed it would be a painting since I'm the artist of the family and it's known that I also paint. I confirmed that, but that Maddie has come forward with this out of the blue and that it's not a good idea for many reasons. She agreed with me immediately. I think she does have tattoos. She thanked me for telling her as no one else did. Becky seemed really mad, but she seemed to pull herself together. I would have lost it. I'm assuming Becky confronted Matt after our call because only 3 to 4 hours later I checked the family group chat and there was a message from Becky. There will be no ceremony on the 13th as Matt and I decided we aren't getting married. Matt and I have things to figure out, so please text or call us tomorrow if you have questions. For the rest of the day we'll be on flight mode. After dinner Becky called me and apologized for Matt again. She said it was a stupid idea of his and that he just thought it would be cool. She then informed me that she still wants me to fly over for the wedding day as she will be hosting a party instead of a wedding. Everything is paid for anyways and she doesn't want anything to go to waste. I asked if they broke up. Not yet, but I'm gonna stay at my sister's place until next week. I'm assuming Matt hasn't been too great, but I'm sure I'll hear about it. Apparently my brother and my mom aren't invited. Lol. My call must have been the last straw, but as far as I am concerned Becky is handling it gracefully and Matt will be okay too, I'm sure. So I'm going to a party, but did I just make a new friend? Thanks y'all for having my back. Update 2. So because a lot of you wanted to know how the bring your mom to work day was, I picked her up in the morning and we headed to the studio. I showed her around, told her a few background stories about some of the artworks and photos that are hanging on our walls and explained her my routine as I prepared everything. My client arrived and I handled it like I usually would, just with my mom sitting there. Lol. I explained every step of the process and she also asked me questions about my ink, needles, technique, etc. It was a lot of fun having her around and she really did surprise me with her openness and interest. When I was done with tattooing my mother had to leave for work, but thanked and hugged me for bringing her along, as she not only enjoyed spending time with me but also loved seeing me doing my job so professionally and said that she sees my work and efforts now. To the wedding/party, the party started at 1400 hours as the ceremony was cancelled. I arrived and was immediately welcomed by Becky's sister. She hugged me and helped me with my painting. Everyone was outside, drinking and having a small bite already. I went to say hi to Becky and she hugged me warmly. She seemed tired but otherwise fine. Becky was also smiling a lot, which surprised me. I went to mingle as I didn't want to start off with questioning her. Lol. I met a lot of her friends and apparently the most of them weren't too fond of Matt. I heard a few things of how he tried to change Becky to be more like his ex and stuff like that. Not a great look, Maddie. Speaking of, not a single friend or relative of Matt was around. Besides me and one other cousin. Later as we sat down to eat, I asked if could join Becky's table. They said yes, so I was sitting with Becky, her sister and 3 of her friends. I introduced myself to one of them, haven't talked to him before, and Becky added that I'm Matt's cousin, the one who was supposed to tattoo. A simultaneous "oh" came from everyone. And with that, the conversation was about Matt from the get-go. I asked what happened. The sister just rolled her eyes and was like, "What didn't?" Becky and friends told me, a while ago Matt has apparently started to pick on Becky for being herself in various ways. It started small, like asking her to change her sports routine from workouts to only running. Then, he criticized her cooking as he prefers to eat more meat and more traditionally. They discussed these topics and it always seemed fine, but he didn't stop. He asked her if she couldn't let her hair grow or get extensions, and speaking of hair, if she couldn't get them bright. Becky has shoulder-long black hair. More and more seemed to pile up until he also started to make comments along the line of, "Can't you be more like my ex?" As I understand it, he didn't say it specifically, but it was clear he meant it like that. His ex is from Texas. I was shocked. I asked why she didn't break up because of that, but Becky explained that in the situations it didn't seem as bad as when you list those reasons. She had also made a few changes to make Maddie happy but continued to do what she wanted most of the time. Time went on and the issues resurfaced again and again in different ways. The last big fight was only a few weeks ago, when Maddie called Becky by his ex's name. They somehow settled this, so let's skip forward to when I called Becky about the tattoo idea. After our call, she went up to Matt and asked him why he didn't talk to her about it and why he would just decide doing something like that on their wedding day. He explained that he wanted to surprise her and stuff like that. Becky went on telling him this wasn't happening and that she wanted to be able to enjoy the wedding and their honeymoon. Again, they seemed to agree in the end and he apologized. But later, this almost threw me. As Becky was starting to cook dinner and Matt was sitting at the counter, they talked about tattoos again. Apparently really chill discussion about tattoos in general, and Becky asked him playfully what he intended on getting tattooed. He gestured across his chest and said, "I want my birth date, our wedding date and your birth date." So, Becky said she went blind for a millisecond. That third date was in fact not her birthday. She asked him again and he repeated the same dates. She then said that this isn't her birth date. He persisted that it was and that she should stop trying to fool him. She said she started to cry and ran to get her purse to show him her driver's license. That's when his face slipped. He tried to get out of it by making excuses that he isn't good with dates, etc., but Becky just went straight to her phone and checked Facebook. She found his ex's profile showing her birthday. It was the date he would have gotten tattooed on his chest, if I hadn't said no and also called Becky. My dumbass cousin would have ended up with the birthday of his ex-girlfriend next to his wedding date. Becky said he more or less told him it was over and that this is enough. She started to immediately reorganize the whole wedding and honeymoon while kicking him out of the house. A bit later she called me back. She also mentioned that she didn't want to say what happened on the phone as she thought I might tell my family and she really didn't want to hear about it. Fair, I get that. Becky changed the honeymoon booking and is now taking her best friend. Also, if you're wondering, Becky's dad is currently the owner of their house as they agreed to slowly pay him back, due to his financial wealth and stability that made more sense this way. As far as I know, Becky is going to stay there. Anyways, that's the tea, folks. This was truly a wild ride and I am pretty sure Becky and I are going to be good friends. We really hit it off. I don't have much dignity left for Matt, so I'm not sure I'll keep the contact at all. P.S. Becky loved my painting.